Hello, and welcome back to You Like It, We Don't. I'm one of your three hosts, Maeve. Unfortunately, Majin won't be joining us today, but Irby, it's you.
Hello, and I am Urbia, and we got a special guest with us today. We got Sven, so why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. My name is SvenSulley. You can find me on all social media platforms at that name. It's SvenSulley. I'm on YouTube, just like these guys. I make movie reviews all the time and just love talking movies. Finally glad we were able to do this together. I know it's taken a couple of weeks to collaborate, but yes, we're finally here, and I'm happy to be on here with both you guys.
Yeah, man, nice to have you on. Sorry about how long it took us. It's just, the time difference.
Yeah, it's tough to
The
organize.
time difference. Yeah, it's very difficult. But, I mean, okay, it's good that we finally managed to do it. Sven, would you like to introduce the topic for today?
Yeah, let's go over Solo, a Star Wars story, and our initial thoughts on the movie and the future of Disney with Kathleen Kennedy and what she proposes to do with the future, like the upcoming trilogy with Rian Johnson and all that jazz. So I guess we may as well just start off by diving into Solo and giving our thoughts on the movie.
My thoughts on the movie are, pretty clear. It's pretty bad. It's a very bad movie.
Wow. I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised.
You're surprised, like genuinely?
Nah, not really, but I'm interested to see what you guys have to say.
Well, okay. Overall, it feels all over the place. It does kind of feel like it was made by, two different directors. Actually, three in this case, because Kathleen fired two of them in the beginning. So this movie had three directors, which is crazy. But you can feel it throughout the entire movie. It just goes all over the place. There's like weird shit that happens for no reason that's never explained. A lot of the people get things done, and how they do it is also never explained. How, like for instance, L3, for instance, how the fuck does she have like the best, what do they say, navigation coordinates in the universe? Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, it's
how
like the
does she
show
get
don't
that?
tell. Like, like they keep on telling us these things, but they don't like show us why. It's like this.
It's
I know that was kind of stupid. I agree.
so I don't know. Overall, it's a bad movie, but it's better than The Lost Jedi. It's better than The Lost Jedi.
Yeah.
Oh,
I saw your list. Sven thinks that it's worse than Last Jedi.
Really?
I do.
Yeah.
Damn, man. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Actually, I wanna hear your opinion then. Like, let's hear you out, because like most people that I hear say the opposite. So go for it.
All right, so Solo, I don't know. I feel like I'm actually shocked to hear that you hate both Last Jedi and Solo as you do, but I know a lot of people tend to either hate that trilogy as so far as it is, or they tend to hate the anthology movies like Rogue One or Solo, and it seems like the critics are more lean towards The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, whereas a lot of audiences lean more towards Rogue One and Solo. But I'm kind of down the middle with both. I'm not a big fan of Rogue One, and The Force Awakens I thought was also solid, but I didn't think either one were mind-blowing. And when we go with Solo, a Star Wars story, I thought it was enjoyable. I liked the movie. I didn't think it was as bad as some people thought. I heard so many different opinions about it. There's just a different amount of people just saying whatever they want about the movie. And I thought that our new guy playing Han Solo, Alden Ehrenreich, I thought he was pretty solid. What did you guys think about him?
He wasn't the worst part about the movie. Like, some people complain about, but like, yeah, he wasn't too big of an issue. I actually thought, like, in terms of acting, it was okay most of the time. There were some jarring moments, but for the most part, he did a pretty good job, like, acting for what the script, for the script he was given. Is what I'm
True,
trying to say.
true.
Yeah.
I do feel like he did lose a lot of the swagger that the original Han Solo had. Because he doesn't, I don't know, he doesn't stand out much on the screen. I don't know. That's what it felt like to me. It didn't really feel like Han. It kind of felt like a guy trying to play as Han.
Maybe.
But that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I can see where you're coming from. I don't know. I guess he's not like the best, and it's pretty much impossible to replace Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And that's understandable because everybody sees Han Solo and Indiana Jones as just Harrison Ford. It's an irreplaceable character.
Yeah.
And I can understand that completely. I guess I didn't really even want... I know a lot of people didn't really want a Han Solo movie either. So
Yeah, you know what?
it can be understandable.
You know what they should have done? They should have made a Chewie movie. They should have made a Chewie movie because then there wouldn't...
And that's how he meets Han Solo. Like...
Yeah, because... that would have been cool. They don't even have to show Han Solo. He can just be like a figure in the background at the end or some weird shit like that. But just have Chewie be the main character and find out more about his background because it's a guy in a suit. It's a guy in a suit. You don't have to replace the character. It's a guy in a suit, playing Chewie.
That is true. That is true. Good. You make a good point there. That'd actually be pretty funny.
Yeah.
The thing, except you would have to have like subtitles the whole time to understand what they're saying.
Fuck, you're right.
I had this thought earlier today. What do you guys think if Shia LaBeouf played Kylo Ren? Like, would you like that?
God.
Well, okay.
Well, that's as long as you can get out of prison.
Well, Shia LaBeouf, he always says, no, and that's my answer to your question. No. I don't want to see Shia LaBeouf playing Kylo Ren, but I also don't want to see the actor playing Kylo Ren who's playing him now either.
What's his name, Adam Driver or something?
Yeah, something like that. Sven, I don't know if
Adam Driver.
what happened with me and Majin when we went to go see The Force Awakens for the first time. When he took his mask off for the first time, Kylo Ren, he someone laughed in the cinema. Like as soon as someone laughed when he took his helmet off. It was the funniest thing. She started laughing, and because she started laughing, everybody started laughing.
Oh my God.
The entire cinema was laughing at Kylo Ren's reveal. It was the funniest thing.
That's hilarious. that is actually really funny because I know a lot of people didn't expect it to be like just a regular dude. They thought it was gonna be somebody else.
Yeah, but the thing is, he doesn't look intimidating. That's also why I think she laughed.
Yeah, like well shampooed boy, like.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
You can tell he uses conditioner.
That's hilarious.
But all right, guys, back to Solo. Urbia, you haven't said yet what you think.
So Solo, I like it more than Rogue One, and I like it more than Last Jedi. And there were a couple scenes in Solo I liked. I liked the first chase scene. I liked most of the scenes with Chewbacca were really good in my opinion. It's just
he wasn't eating porgs.
Yeah, the implications that Chewbacca has eaten at least a couple people since he's been in that prison. Like that's crazy to me. Like
they did imply that quite heavily.
Yeah, like that's pretty crazy. Like he's eating people.
What was that about? I didn't make it. It was like, what the heck? Chewbacca. What? Like they would never bring up like the old trilogies. It's like really random.
It was really random, and there were no bones in that cage either, which was weird because that means
it's just a robot.
Like, that would have been So sorry, Urbia, carry on, man.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say 70% of the movie I did not like, but there was a good 30% that I did like, where I was like, okay, this is enjoyable. Like, I wasn't looking at my watch in the theater. Like, I hate that when you're in the theater and you're, like, looking at your watch just to see, like, oh, when is this movie going to be over? Like...
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. For myself, I was looking at the watch. I did look at the
Towards
watch.
the end, I was like, oh, God,
In The Last Jedi, I looked at my watch like at least 5 times during the watching of that movie.
It's like this movie is just too darn long, man. I can't deal with it anymore.
The last 30 minutes especially, I was like, oh my god, are they
yeah,
like they're cramming
the
the first 30 minutes of the next movie into this. Like, what's going on? Like, just end it here at the suicide bombing. That's fine. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
Fuck.
No, the thing about The Last Jedi was I literally thought it was going to end 4 times, and then it just kept going. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, I actually also had that feeling as well while watching it. It just dragged on forever. Like, holy shit.
It did.
It
really did.
It was crazy, and Solo kind of felt the same because that movie is only 13 minutes shorter.
Did you know the Easter egg, the dice from the movie was the same dice that Luke gave to, was it Leia at the end of Last Jedi? If not,
yeah, but that was so stupid. Yep. Like that was the most retarded thing ever. Like. Why did they even add the fucking dice in The Last Jedi? It serves no fucking purpose.
It was to promote Solo, I guess.
In a subtle way that most people would not even notice.
Yeah, like, but the thing is, like, after they did that movie, because it feels like Solo is an excuse for The Last Jedi. Like, that's what it feels like throughout the entire movie, because they need to now have them stealing fuel, because they gotta double down on fuel. You know, for some reason in the Star Wars universe, and on top of that all, I don't know, guys. The movie was horrible all the way throughout. It's like
you didn't like the Chewbacca scenes.
I liked the Chewbacca scenes. I did. I enjoyed. And you know what? I will say one thing, and I will give them props for this. The humor was not as bad as The Last Jedi.
No, true,
not by a long shot.
Oh no, I thought the humor was I kind of forgot to mention that in my review. I thought the humor was pretty off with Solo throughout, but not as bad as The Last Jedi either.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't great humor, not by a long shot. But I did find one scene funny. The part where Chewbacca and Solo, get caught by the guys on Kessel. Well, not caught, but they get handed over to them. And then they said, send them for clipping. And then Han's like, what are you going to clip? Like, I don't know. I found that funny. I did. I found that funny.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, sorry.
You brought up how the movie was a little bit too long. And I will say, once they got on the Millennium Falcon through the Kessel Run scene, I guess that's what it's called.
Yeah.
I felt like that scene just took way too long, and they just kept dragging it on and on and on. Eventually, that giant squid monster is attacking them. Like, what the heck was that?
It's Cthulhu, man. It's Cthulhu. There's no other thing it could possibly be.
It was ridiculous.
It was crazy. It was real. Why did they have to add a giant octopus monster in space? They're
trying to go for a Western feel at first, with the pistols and the train robbery scene, and then out of nowhere Cthulhu comes in. Like, it is a bit jarring.
It was very, very weird. Irby, by the way, you just called him Katoon. You've been playing too much Hearthstone, man. Too much Hearthstone. I guess Cthulhu could also have been in space.
Yeah.
Overall, that movie was pretty bad. And guess what? It shows in the box office.
Yeah.
It's showing in the box office. 77% drop from week to week, Friday to Friday. 77 drop. God. And not only that, but the first Friday was somewhere in the 30 million. So it was already little to begin with. It's now something like 8 million the next Friday. It's crazy how bad this movie is selling. Nobody's going to see it.
Yeah, 149 total. Like, that's very low.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
Yeah, they're saying that there's a possibility that it won't even reach 500 million. That it'll be between 400 million and 450 million for a Star Wars movie.
Like, wow, that's ridiculous.
That's insane. Do you guys just think that's because people didn't really want a Solo movie anyway?
They don't want this movie for sure.
Yeah, look, they didn't want this movie, and I also feel like it's just with Kathleen Kennedy's whole thing where she's just not listening to the fans either. I feel it's just a mixture of a lot of bad things happening at once. You know, it's a movie that nobody wanted, really. It's a movie that's, had a lot of drama throughout its entire run, like...
Yeah, multiple firings.
Yeah.
Like, rewrites.
And then on top of it all, her not listening to fans, and then causing this massive boycott from fans. It's insane. It's really crazy.
And why during this schedule? Like, it was after Avengers and Deadpool. Like, I don't know. They thought maybe people wanted to see that as well because like those were way better movies.
Well, it's because of the 4-day long weekend that was happening in America at the time. That's why.
Right, yeah.
Like, she...
That makes sense. Oh,
yeah, sorry, Sven, you were saying?
I was going to say, well, I feel like the Deadpool coming out, too, some people believe that that's, like, caused Solo to lose money, too, because if Solo came out before Deadpool, because Deadpool was originally just released on June 1st, this past weekend, but instead they moved it up 2 more weeks, so people feel that people were so high on the Deadpool movie that that's what also caused Solo to lose some more money.
You see, like, I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen. It's just, it's so weird that they can't seem to learn what they're doing, because even when The Last Jedi got released, a lot of people rather went to go watch Jumanji. Like, Jumanji took a lot of people away from The Last Jedi. like, so how are they not?
Dwayne Johnson, like.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It honestly feels at this point as if Kathleen Kennedy is doing everything she possibly can to fuck Star Wars up. It honestly feels like it. They haven't done like a lot of their decisions have just been unbelievably bad. Even with games, with EA Battlefront 2,
It's been on, like, when it first came out, it was on sale for every week, I think, for the first 2 months, because like they just really wanted people to buy it.
Yeah, it's currently been on sale, I think, about 9 times in South Africa on the PlayStation Store. 9 times. And I think it's currently on sale right now, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I don't know anymore. I just expect it to be there now. When I log into the store, I'm just like, okay, it's probably on sale. So, I mean, I don't know. It does feel crazy. And it's just nobody's seeing it. And even China, like the whole of China, a country with 1 billion people in it.
They'd rather see Avengers.
They'd rather see Avengers because they only managed to garner 10 million from the Chinese market on opening weekend.
Wow, that's like nothing.
10 million. It's crazy. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And also worldwide, audiences are just not going to see it. Like worldwide, it's not even just something that's happening in America. It's just everywhere. Nobody's going to see it. In the cinema where I went to, it was 10 people there, and 5 people left during.
During what about your cinema? Like, was it full when you saw Solo?
Oh, my theater. Yeah. Well, it was. I don't know. It was about 25 people, maybe.
Okay.
That was about it, though.
Yeah, that's still pretty
too big.
Yeah, that's low. That's not a lot.
Yeah, it was still opening weekend, so I don't know. Not too many people want to see it in my theater. That might be because where I live right now, but I imagine back in Philadelphia area, people probably would be seeing it. But more so, but around here, I guess people don't really care as much because it's a beach. So if people rather go to the beach than see a great Star Wars movie that not so great after all.
Yeah, you make a good point.
It had potential, though. I mean, they had a budget, like you saw, like It's not like they couldn't have made it a good movie.
I mean, look, the movie had a budget of, they're estimating about $250 million.
Yeah, that's not bad.
$250 million. That's $50 million more than The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Jeez. How could it be that much higher anyway? It doesn't.
It's because of the reshoots. The reshoots.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
well,
that's
like
why.
you'll barely make a profit. Like it still hasn't made a profit.
Yeah, it still hasn't made a profit, and not just that, but they spent about $200 million on advertising and stuff. So, like, they have to at least do $450 million to break even.
That just sucks.
Yeah, they might get that on DVD, Blu-ray sales, maybe, but I don't see that. Well, I don't see while in theaters that they'll reach that point because they're at 140 right now. Like, how are they gonna double that much if it was 30 million this weekend? Like,
yeah, no. Somehow Kathleen Kennedy has managed to alienate.
it's
all
gonna take
moviegoers.
at least 10 weekends of that same amount for it to reach, but it's not gonna be in theaters for
The
10
same amount.
weekends. Like,
Yeah, not just that, but it won't be the same amount from weekend to weekend.
yeah. Like,
Because
wow.
usually it's the first weekend sales that determine how great the box office is going to be in recurring weeks.
Yeah.
And it's already bad on the opening weekend.
It didn't break 100 million opening weekend, right? Like, or it did.
I think it might have, right?
Yeah.
It might have got like 130, maybe.
No,
I think
it
there
got
was-
30 this weekend. Oh, if it got 30 this weekend, that means it got 110 last time.
I heard that it's managed to break the 100 million mark. That's what I heard on my end, that it's managed to break the 100 million mark. So that's, I mean,
It probably did
look,
110 then. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
I just, yes. But you know what? It's just crazy what Kathleen Kennedy has managed to do. She treated all the fans like shit. You know, she made it all about SJW, whatever stuff, and just
Oh, I know.
like,
That's the thing. Like, why? Why did they shove that down our throat?
Yeah.
Just make it Star Wars. Come on.
just,
Yeah.
why is there politics in Star Wars?
Or the
Why?
worst thing is, like, they bring up politics, but then they never reference it again. So it's just like, okay, like, politics is going to make a cameo then in this? Like, at
Yeah,
least
and
integrate it into the story in a way that, like, I can be like, okay, that makes sense. And there's a reason there's that in there. But there's no reason. It's just a cameo appearance.
Yeah, but remember, Urbia, they did try to add it into the story of The Last Jedi, but Rian Johnson is an idiot, and he can't.
I mean,
write
yeah,
for
he
shit.
he can't write for
So-
shit, though.
They really can't now.
Yeah, he tried to integrate the whole hurting animals is bad and slavery is
Oh, my
bad,
God.
and he
That was
managed,
horrible.
and he added that into the Finn and Rose story, which is the worst aspect of the movie. Like,
I agree.
how, like, what the fuck?
Is that the most that they achieved during their side mission? Was finding out of that?
Yes.
It was bad to
That's-
slave animals.
That's it. That's it.
It was what were they? The funniest part was how my friend, like, he doesn't really mind like talking about politics a lot, but I mean even him, he just constantly complains about how they always shove this stuff down our throat and there's like no need for it. He constantly criticizes Rian Johnson. He calls him an idiot all the time too, and says that he's like, oh my god, like, you kidding me? He's making a trilogy now. Who the hell is gonna watch that?
You know who's gonna watch it? Rian Johnson.
One ticket sold.
Yes, he'll be there alone in the cinema.
I mean, maybe it'll be a good movie because, you know, they say, like, Rian Johnson reads the fan theories. If nobody's making fan theories, maybe he's finally gonna have to, like, think of a story of his own. Like,
The thing is, that was the best that Rian Johnson could do.
but he
That
read
was
all
the
the fan
best he
theories
could
and
do.
he was just like, okay, let me not do that. If nobody's making fan theories, what is he gonna do then? Like,
You know what he's going to do? He's going to make another awful movie, and he's doing a trilogy. He's going to make an awful 3 movies.
I don't know. Like, he made Looper, right? Like, Looper was okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think that movie was that great either. I thought it was fine.
It wasn't anything great at all.
I mean, the first half was pretty good, if I remember correctly.
It meets the bare minimum.
The second half got confusing. It was because they introduced magic powers or something as well. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, there was some weird
movie.
Shit happening in that movie.
Yeah.
There was some weird shit happening in that movie. I mean, I cannot remember the end of that movie at all, though. Yeah, honestly, I can't remember it.
I slightly remember because I watched it not that long ago, a year and a half ago, but I'm not going to watch it again probably anytime soon.
Right. I mean, if
yeah.
ever.
Yeah, if ever.
I just don't get where they find these directors from anyway. Rian Johnson's such a random choice. Why don't you just pick like Steven Spielberg or something?
Yeah, like why don't they get these great directors? Like Martin Scorsese, why not him? Like
it's so weird that on everything in the movie, the one thing where they cheap out on is the director. It's like, really? The guy who's gonna be responsible for making the movie and writing it, that is where you want to cheap out.
They might as well go M. Night Shyamalan, like, I swear.
Yes.
He probably would have made it better.
Yeah, there would have been a massive twist in the end, for sure.
Well, the funny thing is, last night, my friends and I were talking about how Quentin Tarantino is going to direct a Star Trek movie. So just imagine what that movie's going to look like, and imagine if he were to direct a Star Wars movie over that of Rian Johnson or J.J. Abrams. How weird that would be.
Can you imagine if Quentin Tarantino would
get Samuel L. Jackson to play Mace Windu again somehow? I don't know how.
Holy shit, that would be so great if they could bring back Mace Windu, because they never actually say that he's dead, you know? It's implied that he dies.
Because he's not in the original trilogy, that's why.
Yes, it's implied that he dies, but we don't know. It would be cool if Quentin Tarantino would make a weird Star Wars, no doubt, but it would be very entertaining.
I mean, they could bring his ghost back, his Jedi ghost.
Yes,
that'd be so cool.
Yeah, I mean, look, he would have made a better Star Wars than Rian Johnson. I think a brain dead monkey could have made a better Star Wars than Rian Johnson.
Anything at this point.
Yeah.
My dog.
Just
like, holy crap.
Like, you know that thing on your phone, the auto suggest, like when you're texting someone? Like, I bet if you type those buttons in, like, you get a better story. Like,
yes.
I know, definitely. Like the thing is, like, if you guys, I know one of you watched my rankings, and I said that The Last Jedi I liked it over a couple other ones, but to me, there's really only 4 really good Star Wars movies, and other ones they've made way too many mistakes with.
Yeah. I thought you really liked
the original trilogy.
You really liked Episode 3. Like, I was surprised by that.
Yep. That's the one the one prequel movie I think that's actually like really enjoyable, unlike the other first 2 that came out before that. But it's always, to me, it's gonna be about the original trilogy and Episode 3. I really am not the biggest fan of the other 6 movies they've made now, and they made 4 in the last 2.5 years. It's insane.
Yeah.
How much money they're making off of this too.
I mean,
it's Disney. I'm telling you guys.
I mean, look. The good part is that they still, like, if you take into account all the money that they've spent on making the movies and how much the movies have earned up to now, Star Wars still hasn't gained back the money that Disney spent on it. You know?
Yeah, that is true across those 4 movies. But don't worry, like, there's the game, then there's other merchandise like toys and all that. Like, they'll get their money back.
Look, they'll get their money back, but the problem is that Kathleen Kennedy has somehow managed to turn Star Wars from a worldwide. Remember back in the day when a Star Wars movie got released, it was like an event, you know. It was something that people looked forward to.
People would dress
it really
up,
was.
like, to go watch it, but I don't think anyone dressed up to go watch Solo, like.
Yeah, I don't think so. I saw people going to go dress up for The Force Awakens and Rogue One. And that was it. And also for opening night of The Last Jedi, there was also someone who dressed up as Darth Vader, and it was just sad. Like he walked out of the theater with his helmet off.
He was like,
and
no.
It was no. Like that guy looked so sad. I couldn't believe it. I was like, God damn, he was probably
he was
crushed.
looking forward so much to that day too. Like,
yeah, he was probably crushed by that. He was crushed. Oh, and
he's sad he spent all that money too on the suit.
Yeah, exactly.
Just whatever much.
Exactly. Like spending all that money on the suit, which he probably has worn to other like Star Wars premieres.
Yeah,
you know?
he might have to retire that suit now. Like,
yeah, it's pointless now.
Or had to burn it after being embarrassed watching that movie in front of all those other people in the theater.
Yeah, he probably came out of the cinema, went into the parking lot, just took off the suit right there, just burnt it in the parking lot, and said, "Okay."
throw it in his car, just set the car on fire. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done.
I drove the stupid car, drove to the theater, man. Come on.
Yeah, and you know what was also crazy is that there was no one applauding at all. There was no one applauding at all at the end of The Last Jedi. At the end of The Last Jedi, which, and by the way, this is what happened with me and Margin when we went to go watch Solo. So I mentioned the beginning part where 5 people left. Once the movie ended, there was one guy behind us who clapped in the cinema, and everybody was like dead silent, and he was so enthusiastic for like a couple of seconds, like clapping, and then he just stopped. And he was like, "Oh shit!" Nobody's clapping. Like nobody's clapping, and then he just started up again. Like it's like, dude, either go all the way or don't. Like, have conviction. Have conviction. Like, if you enjoyed the movie enough to clap, then clap.
Yeah, he had half, like 1 foot into the clapping. The other one was like, I don't know.
Yes. If you enjoyed it that much, then clap, but don't just second guess yourself. I don't know, it's weird. Every time that me and Majin go to the movies, there's some weird story that happens. It's so weird.
But I think they should take a break after episode 9, because we've seen this with like other franchises. Like remember with Assassin's Creed, we kept on getting a game every year, but they wouldn't be that good until they made a 2-year game cycle for their games. Like, I feel there needs to be a 2-year cycle for Star Wars movies for there to be any hope of them being good, like, at all. Force Awakens was okay because there was some time beforehand, so there was more planning involved, I think, with Force Awakens as opposed to the other movies.
Well, look, the thing is, Urbia, that it's not really, because with these movies, they have the usual cycle. They have a 2 to 3 year cycle, but that's why they have the anthology films.
Well, now it's like every year we get but every year we get a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, every year we get a Star Wars movie. But again, if they actually did Star Wars right, then I wouldn't mind seeing a Star Wars movie every year. In fact, I'd love it. I love Star Wars.
True. If they could
which is why it sucks so much that Kathleen Kennedy has managed to just destroy it this badly. It really does.
When did Disney turn bad? Like, at what point? Was it with like Planes or Cars 2 maybe? Like, because at some point it was a major shift. What do you think?
I don't know.
Who really knows what the heck happened there? I don't know. I couldn't tell you personally. I mean,
yeah.
Well, what do you guys think?
I don't know. It's hard to tell because Disney has had. They've had really great movies over the years, and they've had really bad movies over the years. But with everything culminating now with Lucasfilm, it's bad. It's really, really bad. I don't understand how Disney allowed this to happen, which is crazy. It's a multi-billion-dollar company, and they don't have anybody at all looking after Star Wars.
Yeah, like 140 million. That's barely, like, some movies that you've never heard of before make more money than that. Like, it's ridiculous. And this
Yeah,
is
this
Star
is a
Wars.
Star Wars movie. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the craziest part. This will be one of the lowest. Actually, no, it will be.
Oh, it will be.
The
Other than
lowest
like
selling...
maybe holiday special.
Maybe the okay, wait, Irby, you broke up there for a second.
The holiday special.
Yeah, the holiday special. Yes.
But that didn't get a theatrical release.
Another masterpiece made by Disney. Well, it wasn't Disney then, but just Star Wars themselves. George Lucas, the mastermind behind the Phantom Menace, man.
I mean, look, George Lucas is not like, he's not perfect, but you know what? He is a fucking like Renaissance genius compared to fucking Rian Johnson. Like, fuck.
Yeah. I saw that Sven doesn't like the first two prequels.
Well, I mean, okay, let's be honest though. The Phantom Menace was pretty bad.
I like the music and I like Darth Maul.
Yeah, Darth Maul and the music were really good in that movie. Yeah, that is true.
Yes, those are the two good things from the movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sven, what'd you say?
I said those are the two best things from the movie, but like I don't know what else was great from Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, like, they were bad movies. You know, the prequels were bad movies. They had plot holes in them. They you know, the story was all over the fucking place. You know, fucking Hayden Christensen.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Jeez.
just like fuck.
The actor from the first movies quit acting because people hated like him for doing that movie. Like the guy that played Anakin.
He was bad, man. Hayden Christensen was bad.
No. The guy before Hayden Christensen, the kid from the first movie.
Kid, yeah.
Oh, Jake Lloyd.
Yeah.
Jake Lloyd said that Star Wars ruined his life.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yes, it did.
It ruined his life.
He got like arrested because of it. Like I think he got bullied in school.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine.
So.
Well, wait, he did what in school?
He got bullied.
He got bullied. Yeah.
Yeah. He got bullied all the time at school. So it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, but okay. The original. Oh, okay. Sorry, not original trilogy. The prequels. They were okay in comparison to some of these new movies that have come out from Lucasfilm. Like, honestly, I would rewatch the entire prequel trilogy 1,000 times over than ever watch The Last Jedi ever again.
We really hate The Last Jedi. Like, oh my God, we really.
The thing is, Sven, we started this channel because of our unified hatred of The Last Jedi.
Yeah, that's the only reason we're doing it.
That is hilarious, actually. It's like understandable too, because I know some of my friends here too. They all hate that movie. Like I always tell my friend, like my one friend's really funny. He's like, yeah, I went in there with an attitude, seeing The Last Jedi, and I came out, and it's still a terrible movie. Like I didn't expect it to be good, and like now in what is it, June? He's like, yeah, I'm pretty much done just talking about that movie because it's so terrible. Like, just like the beginning, just, oh my God, the beginning and the end. Like, my first reaction coming to The Last Jedi was, I have no idea what the heck even just happened. Like usually when you watch a Star Wars movie, it's straightforward, but then with The Last Jedi, it's like, what the heck was this entire movie about?
Yes! It's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Of nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. None of the characters progress in any meaningful way.
Except two of the characters die. That's the only progression we get.
Yes, that's the only progression that we get. You know, Rey proves that she's a Mary Sue in that movie.
Yep.
Finn, for some reason, had to go through a story arc about him being a possible coward and fighting for the people you love. But why did he go through that story arc when he already did all that stuff in The Force Awakens?
Yeah, it was just a repeat.
Yeah, it was a complete repeat. He already went through that story arc. Why the hell are you setting?
And he was one of the better characters in Force Awakens, and they just really pushed him aside in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, they pushed him aside. They gave him the side mission. They gave him the side mission in The Last Jedi.
He was like a minor character in this movie. So it was like, what are you trying to do with these characters at this point?
Yeah, because in the first movie, like, I remember when they first introduced him, they put the blood on his stormtrooper mask, and, like, you know, that, like, I felt like that symbolized something. Like, that wasn't just some minimal part of the movie. But, like, here in Last Jedi, you never get a scene like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what it was supposed to symbolize was that I think I can't remember where I heard it, but it was either a rumor or JJ actually said it that the guy who died was actually his friend.
Yeah,
and that's why it was like such a shock for Finn. Because that was
that makes sense.
That was probably the first time that he ever had one of his friends die on the battlefield.
Yeah, because that was one of his first missions, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes. Yeah, it was. So, you know, it makes sense. Like, his story arc is pretty good in The Force Awakens. And I look, The Force Awakens, in my opinion, is the best Disney Star Wars movie that's come out. It started on such a high note, and then it just went all the way down. It just went all the way down.
Yeah, no, I can understand that too. Like, I'm sure you guys have seen my reviews, and I guess I've been a little bit too, I would say, nice to movies like The Last Jedi, just because my biggest problem with The Force Awakens, besides the fact that, well, they were trying to start the political thing with Disney, which was annoying already, but I just didn't really like how they tried to copy off of A New Hope. I thought that was kind of corny. The reason why I liked The Last Jedi from the start, which is because at least it was something different, but it definitely had a lot more mistakes in terms of just material in general compared to The Force Awakens. So, like, either way, no matter what you say really in general about the Last Jedi or whatever, I can understand where anybody comes from, just because there's definitely a lot of bad things to pick out from it. So the fact that you guys made this YouTube channel just because of how bad the movie actually was to you guys, like, I understand that from every point whatsoever.
Yes. No, I mean, look, dude, I can see. Look, man, if you're more optimistic, that's fine. You know, it's good to be more optimistic about movies. You know, it's good. It's good not to nitpick every single thing. You know. And,
sometimes I can't help though. It's like, you shouldn't do that. Like,
wait, sorry, Arabia?
Like, sometimes I can't help. Like, when I notice a plot hole, like I
yeah, no, look, that is true. That is true. But my main issue with like Rogue, sorry, not Rogue One, with The Last Jedi, was just that the amount of bad was so great in terms of, like, almost everything that it just caused, like, such unbelievable hatred. Like, it wasn't that there was plot holes, it's that the entire movie is a hole. That's it. It's just one giant plot hole. It's nothing more, nothing less. Like, nothing makes any sense by the end of that movie. It feels like filler, basically. You know?
Yeah, it does.
It does feel like filler. But you know what? I will say one thing, and I agree with you, Sven, on this one, is that it is good that they did try something new. That is good.
It's not plagiarized. Like
it's...
what was it called? Force Awakens. It feels like they did, like, the bare minimum for it to not be a plagiarized movie. Like,
yes, it was a clone copy of A New Hope.
They switched out a couple things, you know. Though I really did like the characters. Like, that was the saving grace of that movie, was the characters. Like,
that is true. That is true. I mean, Sven, because you, Urbia knows your list. Like, what's your list of Star Wars from top to bottom?
All right.
Or actually, let's start from bottom to top, I guess.
All right, bottom to top. So I put at 10 The Phantom Menace, just because I think it's the most boring movie out of all of them. From just, I just can't watch it. Like, I can watch it, but I can only watch the exciting parts, like the pod race and the final, like, 20 minutes with Darth Maul. That's cool stuff, but I just think certain elements are just so boring. And then 9 was Attack of the Clones, just obviously a prequel movie. The second one just not good. Then 8 was Rogue One, 7 was Solo for me, 6 was Force Awakens, 5 was Last Jedi, and then really, it's, like I said earlier, that the top 4 Star Wars movies will be very hard to beat. And then 4 I had Return of the Jedi. 3, as of right now, this is where like my opinion changes a lot because I like these 3 movies just so much, plus the Return of the Jedi. But usually I don't really know which one I like out of the 3 I like more about, so my opinion always changes. So right now I would say I like A New Hope 3rd, then Revenge of the Sith, and then Empire Strikes Back 1, which seems to be a very popular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Empire Strikes Back also is my
yeah, that's what
Star
everybody
Wars movie.
says. Like, you can find differing opinions for everything in between, but like Empire is number 1. Like,
yeah, that was pure perfection in my opinion.
yeah.
It was great. I think for my list, it's well, I mean, obviously 10th is The Last Jedi. I mean, no shit, right? No shit. 9th is, I'd say, probably. Actually, wait. Let me think. I think probably Rogue One. Yeah, Rogue One.
That's understandable.
Yeah. Then 8th, Solo. Then for 7th, I'd probably put Phantom Menace. Then 6th, Attack of the Clones. Yeah. 5th, Return of the Jedi. 4th,
wait, you like Force Awakens more than Return of the Jedi?
Oh, sorry. No. I fucked up. Sorry. I fucked up. Sorry, just guys remind me. What number was I on?
5.
Yeah, I was on 5. Okay. Then I would say then Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Force Awakens was pretty good for me. Number 4 was... Wait, am I missing something?
No. You have the original trilogy left and episode 3.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, then episode 3, I think, would come... Actually, you know what? No, switch episode 3 with The Force Awakens. I think I enjoyed The Force Awakens more than I enjoyed episode 3.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then the original trilogy is Return of the Jedi 3rd, A New Hope 2nd, and number 1 is Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Irby, what's yours?
It would have to be the same exact thing as your list, except I would switch out Phantom Menace with Attack of the Clones. I think that one was... I feel like Attack of the Clones was worse than Phantom Menace. Like, I really did not like Phantom Menace. Not Phantom Menace. Attack of the Clones. I really did not like Attack of the Clones.
The thing over here is that I feel like everybody seems to think that Attack of the Clones is by far the worst. That's like the general consensus for like a lot of people, but I don't know. It's been like different. I know some people are gonna say Last Jedi, and some people are gonna say Phantom Menace.
I like Count Dooku. Like the villains in the prequels were pretty good. Like
definitely, yeah.
Those were some of the good parts of the
bad.
movie. Like Hayden Christensen, Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was okay at times, but there were some other times when I was like, oh my god, what's going on? Like in Attack of the Clones, I feel like one of the stupidest scenes to this day, like whenever I watch the movie, I can't help but notice it, is when they're in the hotel and they're protecting somebody from assassination, and like a laser shoots at the window, but the window doesn't break, and then Obi-Wan notices and jumps out the window, and he breaks the window, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, this laser can't break a window, but Obi-Wan can jump through the window. Like, what's going on? Like, it was ridiculous. Like,
true. I mean, look, for myself, for the prequel films, the worst thing is just Hayden Christensen as Anakin. That was a recurring nightmare for each movie.
Well, hey, guess what though? I get a lot of hate because I say that. Well, like the reason you know I love episode 3 a lot, so like a lot of people kind of criticize me a little bit because I think that Hayden Christensen at least like is better. I think he gets a lot better in Revenge of the Sith, but like I think in Attack of the Clones he's pretty much awful.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah, look, he definitely does get better in the third one, but he's still pretty bad.
Because he cries, like I don't like it when he cries.
And I also blame it on George Lucas's dialogue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's not good.
Oh, George Lucas's love dialogue is the cringiest shit ever. Like, I don't like sand.
Remember that?
It's rough. Yeah, the best one is I don't like sand. It's rough and coarse and gets everywhere. Like, what the fuck? If you said that to any girl ever, she would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
it's George must have had many hardships when it comes to girls in his
smooth
lifetime.
like
He
sand.
probably never. Yeah. It was probably really awkward when he signed over Disney to Kathleen Kennedy. He's like, okay, just take it. I don't care. Just give me my money. Like,
but he got $3 billion, right? Like that's a good paycheck.
No, $4 billion.
Yeah.
$4 billion.
Yeah, $4 billion.
Ooh, good.
Yeah. But when it comes to one of my other favorite lines from the prequels, it's always when Anakin is talking about the sand people, and he's like, I hate them. Such a good line. We always recite that all the time. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that shit is fucking hilarious.
It's like
some of them are bad,
It's
but not all.
It's
of
like
them.
it's overacting to the next level, level. It's just fuck. Oh yeah, whenever he was on screen, it was just cringe the entire time.
Though I have to admit, the first 30 minutes of Episode 3 felt like a real Star Wars movie to me. Like when I was watching, I was like, "This is great," but it was afterwards, like when you find out that Padme is pregnant. Like that's when it went downhill for me.
Okay, so you like a lot of like the space battle over Coruscant.
Yeah, like that was really cool. Like in my opinion, like the whole thing with like R2D2 and like killing Count
that
Dooku.
space battle was a very cool scene.
Yeah.
It looked great. Like it looked cooler than the space battles some of the space battles.
I think it's my favorite action sequence in all of Star Wars. I think
that's actually like I agree with that. I think it's fantastic, that opening sequence.
Yeah, because it all of it makes sense as well. It's not similar to the beginning of The Last Jedi where one fighter can destroy all of the turrets on the ship.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
And there's gravity.
They are there on the ship for that sole purpose. That is the one purpose those turrets have. Like, what the fuck?
Right. Plot holes city, pretty much.
Yes.
But yeah, you said that you like the opening sequence. I feel like the biggest problem for a lot of the Star Wars movies before or after the original trilogy is that they tend to have a nice opening and then the middle is just so hard to get through sometimes. It's just so many boring scenes and terrible dialogue and a lot of just stupid things that happen with the new trilogy and like these anthology movies and the prequels. That's like why some people love the original trilogies, that trilogy, because there's no slow points and there's nothing stupid with them. It's just straight up a movie and there's no like funny business going on.
Yeah, it's because the original trilogy follows the normal 3-act system. It's Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, with Act 2 being the introduction of the main issue of the movie.
Yeah, and it was inspired by some of the greatest movies. Like, it was inspired by Seven Samurai, if I'm not mistaken, like, which is a very high-ranking movie.
Yeah, and then in Act 3, there's supposed to be a huge payoff, and that's how it usually goes, but with the the prequel trilogy, like you said, Act 2 is just boring as fuck. Like, there's no setup for anything. The dialogue is awful. It doesn't set up anything well. You know, it's it is pretty bad. Act 2 is pretty bad. And then now with these new Star Wars movies, it's kind of in the same sort of boat, really. It's not bad dialogue, it's just bad story. It's just bad story now. The Act 2 is now horrible.
It's always slow and dragged out. It's like, we get it. Like,
yeah. You get stuck with Finn and Rose escaping with the
Finn and Rose
enslaved animals.
Finn and Rose had like the strangest thing, because by the end they say, okay, slavery is bad. Yes, we know that slavery is bad. That's been an issue for like since the dawn of humanity. That's been an issue, you know. We know that it's bad, and then on top of it all, they say that bad people who sell guns to other people are bad as well. It's like war's bad and rich people are bad too. It's like, okay, war is bad. Thank you.
But these are all cameo appearances. They don't reference it later in the story. Like, I don't know. It's just they make minimal points, like the smallest point. They don't expand on anything. Like, I'll be fine if they somehow, like, they need to tie it in with something. Like, you can't just say slavery's bad and on to the next scene. Like,
yeah, and a lot of people also say that whole Finn and Rose sequence kind of feels like a short film almost, like one of those ones.
It does.
Like a Christmas special. There's no need to have it in a feature film. You could literally just throw it on TV, like, oh, here you go. Here's like an extra Star Wars thing, like, you know. We have these come out like once in a while for you to buy on DVD, like a 30-minute little extra Star Wars clip, but nothing for a movie. It was just tacked on there just to give them something to do.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
No, exactly. And you know what? Also, it also is a problem now in Solo as well. I think I felt that sort of like boredom hit me in Act 2, because Act 2 was also when the 5 people left the cinema as well.
Yeah, but there was no side mission though. Thank God. Like,
there's no side mission. Yes, there's no side mission. But Act 2 was just it dragged on. It dragged on. It did. It really was bad. The beginning was okay. The beginning was okay. It like
that's why I like the movie a little bit. Like, that's why I actually gave like a 75%, but I'm sure that's probably gonna go down. I just like the origin with Solo that was introduced, like with how he met Chewbacca and like how he came in contact with Woody Harrelson. But like after that, I was like, all right. And like the finale also, I didn't really like.
Yeah, it kind of went down after the introduction. Really, after that Act 1, it just went down completely.
Like, and once he split with Khaleesi, like that's when I was like, okay,
yes,
it's over for this movie.
Yeah, that was.
Chewbacca raised it up a bit, but then it went back down. See that later.
Yeah, and then Act 3, also there was no real big payoff, and that reveal at the end. Oh my god.
Yeah, when she took off her mask, it's like, oh my god, it's a ginger we don't know. Like,
it's like, what the fuck? And they lingered on her face for so long. It was like, I don't know who this character is. Why are you lingering on her?
I know.
Yes,
like that was like a problem, and like the fact that when they had the whole Woody Harrelson reveal as like one of the villains, I thought it was gonna be somebody cool like Jango Fett or Boba Fett, I should say. And I thought it was gonna be something really cool like that, but instead they're like, nah, let's just like not try to go risky here, like, and make people happy. Let's just go with like a really cliche idea for these reveals here, and just let the audience be like, whatever, like, I don't really care, and we already made them pay for the money, so there's no refunds, so they won't care after like they go home.
Yeah, but I mean that seems to be the mentality of Lucasfilm right now. You know, that's the mentality. They're just like, let's do the bare minimum, and people will still come to see it. Well, guess what? They're not fucking seeing it.
People have stood up. They're
stood up and left.
To go.
People stood up and left, exactly. I mean, actually, Irby, I never asked you, how many people were in your cinema
About 8 or 10. But it was the late night showing. It was like around 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. rather.
Okay. Yeah, mine was the 8 o'clock showing. So, and on release night as well, which is ridiculous. Sven, when you went to go watch it, was it opening night or was it in the weekend?
No, it was on the weekend. It was like Saturday night, so
okay,
yeah, but
Saturday night is also really full usually.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. And I don't know. Like I said, it could have been because like where I am right now. Like I feel like a lot of people are more interested in going to the beach, but still, I've been to movies down here. Like last summer with Wonder Woman, there was at least more people inside the theater. So I don't know. I guess it really is just a solo movie, not doing Star Wars any justice by even being a movie itself.
Yeah, and I think that they should definitely fire Kathleen Kennedy because of it.
Yeah, or change departments at least. Like, let her do something else.
Like, look, the thing is, she was always an executive producer on a lot of big name movies back in the day, and she did those movies really, like, she was a good executive producer, so why not just be an executive producer? Just handle the finances. That's it. That's what an executive producer does. They handle the finances for the movie,
Sometimes they tell the writer what to write, though.
Sometimes, but I don't think that she had that privilege when Spielberg was the director.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she had that privilege. Could you imagine if she tried to tell Spielberg how to change his script?
Wow.
It's like, nope. Bitch, who the fuck do you think you are? I'm fucking Spielberg.
I'll do what I want. Don't talk to me like that, woman.
Yes, exactly. You don't fuck with Spielberg. Well, at least back in the day you didn't. Spielberg hasn't made a very good movie in a long time, but Yeah.
Did you guys see Ready Player One?
No.
Actually, no, I have not. I did hear that it's pretty good, though.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, that's at least one, but before that, there really hasn't been anything that I like that much.
Yeah, I'll actually check it out, because I have heard that it's one of Spielberg's best that he's made in a while. So, yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. I hear the book is good, but it'll probably take forever to read the book.
Yeah. You think? No.
Always watch the movie first. That's my saying.
Yeah, if it doesn't have a movie, just read the book.
Okay, should we wrap it up with some final thoughts, or?
Yeah. Let's wrap up. Okay, I guess just overall, I really do hope that Kathleen Kennedy gets fired for this, because it's all of this bad shit has happened on her watch. All this bad shit has happened on her watch. She's the one who gave fucking Rian Johnson the Last Jedi to make. She's the one who got rid of Lord and Miller, for Solo, and then gave it to Ron Howard midway through production. She's the one who keeps on attacking a lot of the fans. Her and Rian Johnson were attacking a lot of the fans, and overall, it's just everything that she has done up to now has just made Star Wars back in the day, it felt like Star Wars was a legendary license. It could never do any wrong.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like back in the day. And now it's B grade. It's like nothing now. People don't care. People don't care to see it. I mean, obviously that's how it is with the Solo box office. But yeah, that's my opinion. You guys go next.
Yeah, you want to go, Arbia?
Well, all right. Yeah, since you're the guest, you can be last. So in my opinion, Solo is a sign that things need to change, or else we'll see more Star Wars movies that barely make it to 100 million opening box office weekend, which is really sad. There needs to be change. There needs to be new directors, new writers, because they're just doing like cliche story writing, and they're adding like these like politics into it, but they're barely tying into the story. They're just making cameo appearances, like, oh, slavery's bad, oh, guns are bad. Like, yeah, we know this, but like, how about you tie it into like, you know, maybe a character changing their views after seeing this or something, like, I don't know, like some real progression. But yeah, like, it's not looking good. It's definitely not looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
at all.
What do you think, Sven?
Mm-mm. Well, for somebody that's more in the minority of liking The Last Jedi, I guess, like, I don't know. I think for me, going to see these movies like Solo and Last Jedi, it's like one of those things when you see a movie the first time and you're trying to deny the fact that it's like not that bad, like you actually really enjoyed it, but then you see it again, you're like, I don't like it that much anymore.
Yeah.
That's just kind of, that's like how I feel it's going to happen for me when I see Solo again, because I wasn't like the biggest fan of it the first time, but I was like, the problem for me is the rating scale I do is the percentages, and for some of the movies that I disliked, like I didn't really like that much, like Black Panther, I didn't think it was that good of a movie. I gave that like a 74%. I was like, I like Solo a bit more, and it only makes sense if I gave that a higher grade, but I still don't want to, like, I don't think it's deserving of this grade, but whatever, yeah. I'll just give it that grade. So, now you guys are right. I would not mind seeing Kathleen getting fired, and they do need to find a way to start implementing their ideas more in a smart way, but I don't know if that's going to happen unless they find new writers. I'm interested to see what they do next, because it's going to be another year and a half until Episode 9, the final film in this new trilogy, and then I'm sure we'll probably get like an Obi-Wan film, hopefully, with Ewan McGregor, and if they can get the best writers behind that, I think that could be a really good movie. But
I think you're right. I think you're right. Obi-Wan would be great. Obi-Wan would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, Ewan McGregor's, he was probably one of the best parts of the prequels. He was just really good as Obi-Wan, and I would love to see that movie, but I'm not sure if this Episode 9 is going to be any good, and I have a lot of fear about what the heck they're going to do with Rian Johnson's trilogy, and then I know there's another trilogy that's going to be made too with the Game of Thrones directors, I believe. Really? That's who it is. Okay. Yeah, I heard that. And then also I know one of my other big complaints that one of my friends had was the fact that with Darth Maul being in Solo, making a cameo, now they're pretty much forcing us to watch their TV shows, and we know that Disney is coming up with their own streaming service in the future, which is then obviously they're going to make us have to watch all the shows, because they're going to start implementing some of those characters into the movies in the future, and then we're going to be really lost if we don't keep up with the shows. And they're trying to pump out too much content. And you guys made a great point when you said the fact that they should just take time and do their best to make these movies, even if it takes 2 or 3 years, like it did for the other films in the past. And that's really one of the biggest problems, that they're trying to pump out way too much content too fast. And they're not taking their time to develop better characters and a better story. So I'm sure my opinion will probably change over time for a few of these movies. I still have to watch The Last Jedi again. I still have to watch Solo again, obviously. So, I mean, they're not, in my opinion, not bad movies, but I think they could do much better. And I'm still just waiting for there to be a film like Episode 3 and like the original trilogy again. And to me, it has not happened yet. And it's going to be a while. Maybe the idea behind getting back to those days is by firing Kathleen, but obviously it's going to take a couple more years to see where we are at from here on out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely these next couple of years that are going to be the most decisive, I think. You're right.
After Episode 9, like, I think that's where we'll see where Star Wars is heading.
Well, the thing is, with Episode 9, I'm honestly not interested anymore. I really am not.
There's a slight change. J.J. Abrams might be able to do something with it.
Look, dude, like, fuck, Rian Johnson basically handed J.J. Abrams a pile of dog shit and said, here, polish it. Like, that is what he did. Like, I cannot see J.J. Abrams fixing Episode 9. Like, he's not a miracle worker. He's not.
He's not James
He's
Cameron.
not a miracle worker. Yeah. Oh my god, fuck. Kirby. Every time with James Cameron. Every time. Every time. But, I mean, yeah, it's... Episode 9, I'm just not interested because... I mean, we know that only Kylo Ren is left as a main villain, and Rey has already beaten Kylo Ren. There's no, what is there to look forward to? There's nothing to look forward to. There really isn't.
I don't really know what's at stake anymore.
Yeah, there is nothing at stake. Rey's already beaten Kylo before. She's gonna beat him again, and that'll be the end of the trilogy. It's like, okay.
It's not like they have a new Death Star or whatever, which, God forbid they make a new Death Star.
Yeah. Except this time it has to be bigger than a planet, so they'll turn a sun into like a sort of Death Star thing. That's what they'll do next.
They'll make a Death Star that can do light speed. Like,
that would be just terrible. Oh god. Oh my god. That was like that's another reason why I don't like the Force Awakens that much is because they decided to make another Death Star. It's like, what the heck are you doing? If they do make another one in Episode 9, I'm not even gonna watch the movie. I'm just gonna walk out. But screw this. I'm done.
I mean, look, obviously, we're gonna have to watch it because we all have to do reviews on it.
Yeah.
But oh boy, I don't know, because it took a lot out of me to not walk out with those 5 guys that lived.
It's like,
yeah, like we're all walking out together, like, hey guys, what's up?
They seem cool.
Yeah, it's gonna take a lot not to walk out of Episode 9 because damn, I just don't see how they can fix the story. I don't see it. They've killed off the main antagonist, or what was supposed to be the main antagonist. They killed off Snoke
without explaining his backstory.
Like, the thing is, you know what, dude? They didn't explain too much of the backstory of the Emperor either.
But they eventually did.
But they eventually did, yes. But the thing is, like, you know what the thing is? If they left Snoke to the next movie and then gave more information about Snoke in Episode 9, people would have been fine with that because that was how the original trilogy did it,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, I don't know what the hell they were what Rian Johnson was thinking when he killed off Snoke.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, for me, like, him doing that, I guess it's not like a terrible creative decision just because I'd rather it be a little bit different than the original trilogy, but like I don't know. I don't know how the heck J.J. Abrams is gonna like clean that up, and I'm just really worried that they're gonna decide to do the same thing with Darth Vader. They might do the same thing with Kylo Ren that they do with Darth Vader. That's like my biggest fear.
Where right before death, he becomes a good guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just please don't do that.
Oh, fuck, they're gonna.
But it sounds likely.
They're gonna
it
do
sounds
that.
very likely.
They're gonna do that because they hinted throughout the entire last.
Unless it's another gotcha moment, like.
Oh fuck! Don't no.
Gotcha. You thought this was gonna happen?
I agree, man. I agree. If they do that, if they make Kylo a good guy at the end, I'll just be like, come on.
Because they teased it in The Last Jedi. I thought that's what was going to happen when he teamed with Rey, but then they're like, no. So I wouldn't mind like Kylo Ren just being the main villain for here on out, but I don't know what the heck they're going to do at this point. Like, are they just going to kill him in Episode 9? Or are they just going to have him, I don't know.
Because what's his goal?
Like, good, but I exactly. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very confusing. It's very muffled, and Rian Johnson, they kind of screw some things up. Personally, I would have made him the bad guy from the beginning and had them fight in Episode 9, not Episode 7. It's just stupid things like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't even a fan of Snoke to begin with. Like, I just thought he was just kind of another weak villain that they're just going to throw in there. So.
And why make him a large projection, like in the first...
Oh, I know.
Like, not first movie, but Episode
sense.
7.
Like... Yeah. They screw everything up, and like we've said so many times, we reiterated over this podcast that they've made mistakes, Disney, and they need to clean it all up, and it's going to take couple of years to see what's next to come and where they'll be from here. And I think Episode 9 is a big, big film to determine what the real future of Star Wars is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And when Rian Johnson makes his, trilogy, every movie will be 2.5 hours, and it'll just be a picture of shit on the screen.
Like, there you go.
And
this is my idea.
Yeah.
Piece of
there
shit
you go,
chasing
Rian Johnson. Hey, Rian Johnson, there you go. I give you that story idea. It's better than The Last Jedi. There you go. Free of charge. There you go. But okay, guys. I think any last thoughts?
Can we just get something without Rose? Can she just be cut out of the next movie, please? That'd be fantastic.
No more side missions, please. Like, I can't take another.
That's all I ask.
Because the Endor thing was a side mission, but it's had some point to it, but because they had to get rid of the the shield generator or whatever. But there was no point to the side mission in Last Jedi.
Yeah. It ended up doing nothing. They ended up doing nothing at all. I mean, but okay, hopefully. I believe that if they restructure Lucasfilm, they fire Kathleen Kennedy, and they, I don't know what they need to do with Rian Johnson, but I don't know. Fucking
just not give him another trilogy. Just be like, hey, buddy,
a restraining order against Star Wars.
Yeah. Give him a restraining order or something.
Just exile him to the middle of nowhere, on an island. Just be like, just stay here. We don't want you.
Exile him to the same island where Luke was. That's where he should stay.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's what they should do with him. All right. Sven, would you like to end us off, or should we do it?
You guys got it. Your show. I'm
just
grateful to be here. Yeah.
All right. Well, Sven, thanks for being on the show, man. We really do appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely did. Thanks for having me, guys. Hope to do it again pretty soon. We got a lot of good movies coming out,
True.
Definitely some more collaborations for the future.
Definitely, man. Definitely. We'll see you all next time.
Thank you for all the support and listening to 3 Grown-Ass Men Complaining. We hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And please consider supporting us on Patreon. If you want to receive updates on our channel, as well as when we release our videos, please join us on Facebook and Twitter. Enjoy, and we'll see you all next time.